Duau, greetings. My name is Asaram Ka. Life, strength, and health. Sin and Senti, brothers and sisters. And greetings to you all. Thank you for joining an episode of Heck in the Chair Spirituality. I thought it would be interesting because I have a brother, Kofi, who's presenting the cosmogony of Ra. And I want to just clarify a couple things for him, maybe that he may have doubts about. And also for the listeners out there, I just want to kind of give you an overview. I'm just going to do a quick overview. I'm not going to go extra in depth concerning the cosmology and the cosmogony of ancient Kemet, the study of the universe, how it came into being, and also the science of studying the universe, how it came into being. And some of these excerpts are from my book, which is coming out, A Short Guide to Knowing the Netcher or Netcheru. Feel free to share, and I hope you enjoy it. It'll probably be pretty short. I'm just going to hop right in. First, just concerning the cosmologies, there's lots of speculation that can be made concerning the ancient Ramech belief system. But if we do an in-depth examination of the cosmogonies of Kemet, the rational concepts and ideas of our Tipawi, our beloved ancestors, they'll start to coincide for you, because a lot of people say they know ancient Kemet and they don't. You know that, and I know that, and it looks silly. Or you may have a Hebrew run up on you and, brother, you don't know that spirituality and all that extracurricular stuff. So and different other cultures may run up on you or come to talk to you or come to speak with you, and they have questions you may not know. So that's one of the main reasons I'm doing this. I'm going to start with there are 4 cosmogonies that I'm going to cover, even though there's a few other things that I could go over. The first one I'm going to start with, and I'll loop them all together at the end, is in Kaminu, or what you may call Hermopolis. And that starts with the great Pasejet. This particular Pasejet, or group of Netcheru, group of aspects of nature, is called the Ogdoad in Greek. So you probably have heard that before. The Ogdoad, or the Pasejet of Kaminu, starts with a group of Netcheru who coexist with each other, and they're depicted as frogs. The men and the women are depicted as snakes, the women. Nu and Nut, one pair. Hehu and Hehut, another pair. Kekui and Kekuit, another pair. And Kekuit and Kera, and Kera and Kerhet. Those are the 4. The males being the ones that don't end in the T, the females being the ones that end in the T. If you've been studying the Medu Netra classes as proposed on our website, www.kemetempire.com. But those are the 8. And the 4 in particular groups we're going to cover now. So let's start with Nu and Nut, the element of water. So if you got a pencil, you may want to mark that down. Nu and Nut represent the element of water. They represent the watery dark matter of the universe, or the original mass, which all forms are created from. The inert waters which all creation is developed from, in which all the female aspects and male aspects of nature are created. As each of the female nature T, they end with a T. And to take each of the female naturette, take some form of Nut, whether it's Het Heru, whether it's Mut, whether it's Neith, whether it's Ma'at or Mayet. They take some form of Nut, or of Nut. Nu is the male form. Nut is the female form. Hehu and Hehut are the next couple. They represent the element of fire. They're different forms of Nu, basically, in Nut. He is like saying the word infinity, or when you hear or read the Ramet say the term millions of years, it would indicate that this would represent endless time. These two are also representations of fire, as Nu and Nut represent water. So we got the element of water, Nu and Nut, and we got the element of fire, Hehu and Hehut. Then we go to Kakui and Kakuit, the element of earth. Earth, you're taking notes. These two are the darkness that represent the overcovering or the darkness over the water of Nu and Nut. They are the power of darkness, and they represent night and day. What has been said by people in the past, the raiser of the light is Kekui, and the raiser of the night is Kekuit. Okay, and these two have several associations with different aspects of Netcher. They're basically overlapping Netcheru, okay, as they are in conjunction with Kent Hen Nofer, which you guys probably know as Nubia. The real name is Kent Hen Nofer. And they're in association with the other Netcheru, other aspects of Netcher, Kanemu and Sati from Elephantine Island. And I won't leave out the connection with Sobek and Kam Ambo, if you're familiar with how ancient Kemet was divided into sectors, and their Hespu, or their cities, or what you may hear as gnomes. But those two are the representation of earth. So you started with water, Nu and Nut. Then you went to fire, Hehu and Hehet, and now we're here with earth, Kekui and Kekuit. So Hehu and Hehut, fire, Kekui and Kekuit, earth, Nu and Nut, or water. And then we have the other aspect, Ker and Kerhet. They are the element of air. These two forms are also called Amun and Amunet. Sounds familiar? Yeah, all right. So now you know. In some parts of the text, when you read the Medu Neter, they say, or they superimpose Amun and Amunet over Ker and Kerhet. So most scholars call Ker and Kerhet Amun and Amunet. And that's fine, because that's one of the names that is used to superimpose over the top of Ker and Kerhet. And of course, Amun and Amunet is more famous than Ker and Kerhet, those names. So you know them by Amun and Amunet. Amun is found in a place of Ker and Neat in a place of Kerhet in the text, but they're the female and male powers of the night. Thus, they're shown as an inert or inactive, if you will, when you read a lot of the text. Ni or Ker is shown as a frog with the head of a beetle. And when I see this depiction, my personal opinion is that this is what they derived Kepara, the creative form of Nebercher, out of, because his head is in the shape of a beetle. And we all know that when Kepara is drawn, it's usually in the shape of a beetle, or a head with a beetle. So that's what I'm going to tell you concerning that part of the cosmogony. So let's cover those again, just a real quick, run through, so you can regurgitate this. Nu and Nut, the important portions. Nu and Nut are the element of water. They represent the watery dark matter of the universe, or the original mass, which all forms are created from. Hehu and Hahut are the element of fire. They represent infinity, or the millions of years, endless time, timelessness. Kekui and Kekuit, the element of earth. They are the power of the darkness, and they represent night and day. Okay, or the raiser of the light and the raiser of the night. And then Amun and Amunet, also known as Ker and Kerhet, are the elements of air. They are also the male and female powers of the night. and they represent the inner darkness as well as the active portion of the darkness, the creative force around the darkness. Now, that's Kanimu. Let's move further. Let's go now to the Het Kapata, or Huet Kapata, or Enbu Hedge, or the Jed Sut, or Anktawi, or another place you might know as Memphis, and all its names. Het Kapata, or Huet Kapata, what it's known as, starts with Ptah. Ptah was superimposed over Nun, or Nu. In the Het Kapata cosmogony found on the Shabaka stone, just so you have the primary resource, both the inner activity and the activity inside of Nun is kind of what Ptah embodies, or what he is. He would birth Atum later, but he and Nun and the Ogdoad were one and the same. Ptah being made up of the Ogdoad, the forms of Netcher covered in the above statements we just covered just a few moments ago. So he's kind of synonymous with that. He would later, like I said, bore Atum, who's in the form of Netcher that overlaps Jehuti, or Hu. Remember, we just talked about Hu. And he contains the power of mind and thought, as well as the speaking aspect of Netcher. Ptah bringing the different forms into existence by speech. He speaks the other Pesejet, the great Pesejet, which you call the Ennead, into existence, and they begin to create the known universe. If we go to it, you'll find this on the Kemet Empire website, sophiatopia.org. Wim Van Dien Dungeon. He does a translation, and where's this translation at? Let me pull it up. I'm just going to read it, just so you get an idea of, where this is coming from, how it's pieced together, so you understand it well. It says, Ptah on the great throne, and some words are missing. Ptah, some other words are missing. Who bore the Netcheru. Ptah Nun, the father who gave birth to Atum. Ptah Naunet, the mother who bore Atum. Ptah, the great heart and tongue of the great Pesejet. So right there we can see that Ptah has taken the place of Nun, and he becomes what all Netcheru are formed of in mind, body, heart, and soul. The Pa'ut, if you will. They are within his body, basically. All the aspects of Netcheru are within Ptah. So Ptah is kind of like a surname to Nun. And we'll cover that in a minute, but just keep that in mind. So Ptah is kind of like a surname to Nun and Nut, or Naunet, if you will. Now, so we know who Ptah is. We know what Ptah's been superimposed over Nu, or the Nun. And let's go to Enu, or another location you may call Heliopolis. This is where the Great Pesejet is. The Great Pesejet is probably the most famous of all of the Pesejets. They're called the Ennead. And the three most famous Netcheru that I would say, Asar, who you may know as Osiris, Aset, who you may know as Isis, Heru, who you may know as Horus. This is where they come into play, right? But we start with the Nun until Atum Ra rises above the Nun by creating Tatanin, or the Benin, or Ma'at, or Mayat, okay, a foundation on which he can build or stand. After this occurs, he then creates Shu, the air, and Tefnut, the moisture, which in turn create their own children in Nut, or immediate galaxy. That's your immediate galaxy. And Geb, the earth. Geb and Nut have a relationship. The father, Shu, the air, does not like the relationship between Geb and Nut. So he's, pardon me, talking with your hands can do that. So he separates them. basically, but not before they conceive children. Okay, so once they conceive the children, these children are the Necheru Asar, Osiris, Set, Isis, Nephthys or Neat, Heru the elder, and Set, whom they say ripped his way out of the belly of Nut. Okay, and the Sovereign Aset would later create Heru, the child with the Set. And another child he would create with his the other sister Nephthys, called Enpu or Anpu or Anubis. These are all principles of Ma'at, and they represent natural and political order. There are several stories about creation and life concerning those aspects of Netcher, which I'm sure you may have heard. Some maybe you haven't. That's okay. Now you know where they come from and where you can find them. You got your primary resource on it. We'll keep moving. The next one is Waset, Thebes, right? In Waset, the cosmogony in which Amen is the head of the Necheru, and he creates the rest of creation. We find our information in the Laden Papyrus in the reign of Ramesu or Ramses II, when we scroll through the prayers. So in his prayers, it tells us the great Pasejet, the Ogdoad, were Amen's first forms until he completed them. Amen, the leader of the Netcher, who turned into Tatanin, or the first mound, or Ma'at, or the Benben, as we just covered. Then he began to create the other forms of Netcheru. He is the insides of the divine fathers, becoming Ra and creating their sons and other aspects of Netcheru. He was the first to exist. There were no other beings that, in the creation. Nothing was without Amen at any time, the text states. So the other great Pasejet, the Ennead, were joined to his limbs or extensions of him, and his form is all the Netcheru together in his body. Okay? These are the four creation stories of cosmogonies and cosmologies that are spoken of without us mentioning the elephantine or the pyramid text or the books of the earth, which also have, they show you how these things are put together as well. Give me just a moment, I'm going to close this door. Hey. Not yet. I didn't know it was on. I just walked in and walked out, so I didn't think about it was on. And then boom, but I turned it off and I came in. Let me do my lecture. I'm just making it. All right. And I'm back. All right. So the great Pasejet were joined to his limbs, right? We covered that. But basically, these are the four creation stories of cosmologies and cosmogonies, right here. Let's put that together so that it starts to make sense for you. Amen came into existence, and well, before I even go there, understand two things. Well, just understand this: when you talk about ancient Kemet, the newer formation of respected aspects of religion or spirituality or understanding of science deified the old, but they also venerated themselves. Okay, so we would start in Thebes because Thebes was the last one, and then we would work our way back, or we would start in Thebes and they would make the jurisdiction of who should be considered first when we talk about cosmogonies and what have you. Okay. So in Thebes, Amun Ra came together, as you know, and obviously Thebes was very powerful at some point in time, and that's basically what we're looking at there when we talk about uh, um, which cosmogony is going to preside over the others, or which cosmogony was respected by the Ramech in certain time periods, and how the others were venerated, not disrespected or even disregarded. We just had a pecking order. Um, so let's look at the how we should put these together, starting with the last first. Uh, in Waset, or Thebes, if you will. Amun came into existence of his own accord. He made his own egg. He cackled aloud when he took the form of the great cackler. He spoke when it was silent and caused all to see and gave everything life. He is the inside of every Necheru. He became the Pesejet, the Ogdoad, in his first form, becoming all the elements that will make up the others, the elements that exist as Nun Ptah. This Pesejet is the form of Ptah Nun, as he created Tatenin, the Benben, if you will, or the mound, before establishing what most of these supposed scholars call the prime evil gods, as they say, or chief of the nature of Huit Kapata, or Het Kapata, as you will hear it. The great Pesejet, the other, not the Ogdo, but the Ennead, are his fingers, the hymns say. He rises as Atum Ra, spreading his light, and then he begins to create Shu and Tefnut, and Shu and Tefnut create Nut and Geb, and Nut and Geb create Asar, and on down. So now this should bring some light to the cosmogony, how it's understood in ancient Kemet. Taking that last one first, we start in Thebes, even though Thebes is the youngest of these, and Heliopolis or Hermopolis are the oldest. I believe Heliopolis may be the oldest, but Hermopolis was after, then Memphis, and then so forth and so on. Just so you get an idea. And we can go to, let me pull up something here. Let me pull up, see if I got it here. Let's go to Waset, or Thebes, and let's just read the cosmology. I'm just going to read a couple because it kind of breaks down what's going on here. The Ennead which came forth from Nun assembles at the sight of you, great in glory, Lord of lords, who fashioned his own being. For those in darkness he shines forth to illuminate them. All bodies are clothed when his brightness comes. The sky is gold. Noon is of lapis lazuli. The sea is blue-green, basically. The earth is turquoise when he rises in their midst. The gods are the Necheru. See their temples open. People start to see when he appears. All the trees stir at his presence. Their leaves unfold. The fish leap in the water, frisking with love for him. The cattle frolic in his presence. The birds flap their wings. They know him in his time of perfection. They all live because they see him every day. The hymn to the Aten. Let's go read another one. Let me see. The 8 Necheru, you're talking about the Ogdo, were your first form. Until you completed them, you being one. Your body is mysterious among the great ones. You have concealed yourself as Amen at the head of the Necheru men. You made your transformation as Tatanen to give birth to the primeval Necheru in your first primeval time. Your beauty is praised as bull of his mother. You have removed yourself as the dweller in heaven, abiding as Re or Ra. He has come into the divine fathers, making their sons, making perfect inheritances for your children. You were the first to exist when there were no other beings. The land was not empty of you at the first time. All the or Zeptepi, all the other Netcheru came into existence after you. And if you keep going, he'll start to name more. So I'll do one more. This is stanza 90, number 90. The Ennead was joined with your limbs. Your form is all the Netcheru united in your body. You emerge first to begin the beginning. Amen, whose name is concealed from the Netcheru, oldest of the old, older than they, Tatanin, who shaped himself as Ptah. The fingers of his body are the 8 Netcheru. Rising as Ra from noon, he constantly renews himself. He spurts out Shu and Tefnut. He rises upon his throne according to the desires of his heart. He gained domain over all that is. He continues the kingdom of eternity forever, established as sole Lord. His form shone in the first time, and all living beings were struck dumb by his glory. He cackled aloud as the great cackler in the place where he created himself, he being alone. He began to speak in the midst of silence, and he opened all eyes, making them see. He began to cry aloud when the earth was dumb. His roaring spread about, and there was no one else. He fashioned all things that are brought. He fashioned all things that are and brought them to life. He showed all people the way to go. Their hearts came alive when they saw him. So, crash course, quick overview of the cosmogony and the cosmologies in ancient Kemet. Hopefully, it was enlightening, or at least if you didn't know, now you do know. And if you do know, hopefully it confirmed what you think concerning the cosmogony of ancient Kemet, the Ramet's lifestyle, and how the ancestors in the Yaku felt about astrology, the skies, and our universe and its makeup. Dua, Senesenti, Uncle Jasaneb, www.kemetempire.com. And of course, you can find me on Google Plus as a Sarum Ka, and heck in the chair. Praises of the divine. That's what we do. I'll see you soon. Uncle Jasaneb.